Welcome back to another explainer. Okay, today we are diving headfirst into one of the most incredibly frustrating, panic-inducing household mysteries you can possibly face. I'm talking about the sudden, totally inexplicable phenomenon of slow drains. We have all been there, right? Standing ankle-deep in shower water wondering what on earth is going on. But what if the problem is actually much bigger than just a clump of hair in the drain? Let's find out.
So is it just a simple clog or a complete system failure? That's the million-dollar question we're answering today. When water suddenly stops flowing the way it should, is your home just experiencing a harmless, localized annoyance you can fix in 5 minutes? Or is it the warning sign of a massive plumbing failure waiting to happen? Knowing the difference early on can save you a tremendous amount of stress, time, and, for sure, a whole lot of money.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll look at the multiple drain mystery, branch versus main lines, spotting the systemic symptoms, some safe at-home diagnostic tests, identifying the usual suspects, and finally, when to call the pros.
Section 1. The multiple drain mystery, the presenting symptom.
Picture this. You've got sinks, tubs, maybe even the laundry drain, and they all decide to stop draining at the exact same time. It literally feels like your house is turning against you. Well, while a clog at a single fixture is definitely annoying, our source material makes a really crucial point here. The pattern of the slowdown actually matters way more than the clog itself. If several drains, especially ones on the same general plumbing route in your home, start backing up simultaneously, that is a massive clue. It strongly suggests an issue much farther down the system rather than just a bunch of completely unrelated blockages happening by pure coincidence.
Moving to Section 2. Branch versus main lines, Anatomy 101.
To really understand why that pattern is so important, we have to look at how wastewater actually travels through your house. Think of your plumbing system like a giant tree, or maybe the human circulatory system. You've got your branch lines. These are essentially the capillaries. They serve single fixtures, a sink here, a shower there. So, if only your bathroom drains are sluggish, but the kitchen is perfectly fine, your culprit is likely just a partial clog isolated to that specific branch. Easy fix. But on the other hand, we have the main line. This is the primary artery. It's the large trunk that all those branch lines connect into before sending everything out to the sewer. If that main artery gets blocked, water simply cannot move out of the house, which creates backups across multiple different branches.
Section 3. Spotting the systemic symptoms, triage. Okay, let's do some triage. We need to distinguish a simple branch clog from a critical mainline blockage. The key is spotting these specific symptoms. First up, simultaneous slow draining. If 2 or more fixtures in completely different rooms drain slowly at the same time, that's a huge red flag. Next, listen closely. Do you hear gurgling sounds? That is actually trapped air bubbling up through your drains because the flow is restricted. Third, look out for toilet or tub backups. Because gravity dictates water flow, mainline issues almost always hit the lowest or most central points of your house first. And finally, rising water levels. If you flush a toilet and suddenly water backs up into the shower drain, that means the downstream flow is blocked, and that wastewater is just seeking the path of least resistance right back into your home. Not good.
Section 4. Safe at-home diagnostic tests, what you can do right now. Now, before you panic and immediately reach for your wallet for an emergency repair, there are a few safe, chemical-free steps you can take right now to play detective. Start by running water separately in each affected room. Are the slowdowns consistent? Next, let's stress the system a little bit. Run multiple fixtures at the same time and observe if the problem gets worse. Also, take a second to think about recent changes. Has there been a shift in flushing habits? Maybe baby wipes or heavy paper products were introduced recently. Finally, if your home has a clean-out access point and you're totally comfortable doing a basic visual inspection, you can check that to see if water flow is restricted right near the access.
But hold on, I need to deliver a very crucial warning straight from the source here. Avoid introducing harsh chemicals in large quantities. Look, I get it. It is incredibly tempting to just pour a jug of industrial drain cleaner down the sink and hope it fixes things. But if you suspect a deeper mainline blockage, doing this can actually make things worse. Those chemicals usually fail to break through a massive blockage. Instead, they just sit there in the pipes, creating a toxic, dangerous hazard for whoever eventually has to open those lines up.
Section 5. Identifying the usual suspects, the pathology.
So, now that we've diagnosed the symptoms, what is actually choking your system? Well, mainline blockages usually build up over a long period of time. First, we have grease and food remnants washing all the way down from the kitchen. Then, you've got hair and soap scum building up from the bathrooms. For those of you in older homes, tree roots are a huge one. They naturally seek out moisture, so they'll actually break into older sewer pipes and grow right inside them, causing massive blockages. And finally, a totally preventable cause, improper disposal of non-flushable materials. Sometimes these completely stop the flow, but often they just create a partial blockage, giving you that frustrating slow in multiple rooms experience.
Section 6. When to call the pros. The cure.
While doing your own diagnosing is definitely empowering, there is a hard limit where DIY attempts absolutely must stop. The source is super clear on these red flag symptoms. If you are dealing with recurring backups that just won't quit, if you start smelling sewage odors inside your home, or if you're seeing rising water levels, especially when toilets are involved, you've got extensive restrictions. These symptoms point to deeper routing issues that DIY fixes just won't touch. It is officially time to call a licensed plumber.
To demystify what happens next, let's talk about what professional plumbing interventions actually look like. Because we are dealing with deep routing issues, plumbers bring in the heavy-duty specialized tools. They might use inspection cameras, feeding them right down the line so they can visually locate the exact blockage and see if it's in a branch, the main trunk, or out in the sewer line. Then they use techniques like hydrojetting, which blasts incredibly high-pressure water to scour the pipes clean. Or they might use power rodding, which is a mechanical tool that physically chops up tough obstructions, like those tree roots we talked about right in the main trunk.
So what does this all mean for us? We've learned that multiple slow drains basically point to your main line crying for help. But honestly, maintaining that main line really comes down to preventative maintenance. Think about it. What you flush today is exactly what you were going to deal with tomorrow. Are you pouring grease down the kitchen sink? Are you flushing things that really belong in the trash? Take a moment to rethink your daily disposal habits, because a small change today can totally prevent a huge system failure tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.